Hello everyone and welcome to Style on Myke Fashion YouTube page. And today we will learn how to make this Fila cup, Fila Yoruba styled cup that you're seeing here in this video. It's gonna be less than 30 minutes. We're gonna finish this up because it's just very easy, simple and straightforward. And I've simplified all the steps for you. So before we get into it, quick one, if you're new to my channel, I need you to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and share. If you have any questions, please you drop them in the comment section. So straight into it, we're going. This is the measurement we're using is 23 3/4 inches, 23 and 3/4 inches. So now this is the width of the fabric that we're going to use for the cap. You see that I've already cut everything. The width of the fabric, that one was like, so this is 9.5 inches. This is 9.5 inches, and the second one is about 10 inches. So let us use the one for 9 inches, the one for 10 inches, sorry. So you just cut your fabric into those dimensions, and you would observe that this gum here is about 3.5 inches. 3.5 inches. You can do that into, you can make it 3 inches if you want, or 3.5, or 4, but 4 is normally too big, so just do 3 inches. Now our measurement is 22 3/4. You can see that the fabric that we're using is more than 22 3/4. I measured it, it was like 25 inches. That is a good thing because we're going to have allowances there. So you're going to place your gum in this way, and then you will iron it. You give it a thorough iron and make sure the gum stays in place. And you also see that because this fabric has a line pattern on it, we're going to make sure that our work is perfect. You place your gum in such a way that it aligns horizontally with the lines on the fabric. That is how you achieve a perfect and a slick job that looks very perfect to the eye. So you make sure that your gum is aligning on the horizontal lines. You can see how I placed it. You see where that black stripe stopped? That is where my gum started. And you can see that it is very horizontal all the way to the other side. You must strive to be very professional when you're doing this job, because your clients will first of all see your errors before they will even see the cleanliness or the other things you did right. They're always going to point to the errors, so make sure you don't have any errors. So this is me ironing it for the gum to stay on the, to stick to the fabric, so that we can work with it. So when making this kind of cap, we also use a lining. Now this is what I'm going to be using as my lining. It is just a purple fabric, plain purple fabric that I'm not using for anything, so I just decided to use it for the lining. Now this is me confirming the measurements. What I need is 22 3/4, of which I'm marking 22 3/4 inches, which I'll mark there to know what I need and to check for the excesses, so that I could just trim that out. So this is the 23 3/4 that I marked here, that I'm going to add 1/2 inch to it for the sewing allowance. That's 1/2 inch for the sewing allowance. And you mark that as well. So now we're going to take the lining, and then we're going to attach it to that fabric with the gum. Now at the sewing machine, I'm going to show you how you will place your fabric in order for you to stitch it together. This is the fabric with gum, which is the main fabric, and then here is the purple which is just the lining. You're going to place them face to face, as seen here, face to face, face to face. Okay, but for me now, I'm going to trim the purple fabric because it's not really straight out. For it to achieve perfect results, make sure the edges are straight out. If it's not straight, trim it just the way I did. So now you can see that it's straight out. So now you place them face to face, so you turn that upside down, like the purple fabric face down, so that the part that has the gum is on top. The part that has the gum should be on top, so that you can mark the place that you're going to stitch to avoid stitching on the gum. Make sure the gum is facing upwards. Now I'm going to show you what you do at this point. You're not going to sew it right at the edge of the gum. Don't do that. You're going to leave. It's not up to quarter of an inch. It's not up to quarter of an inch, but it's not at the edge of the gum either. Leave a little space away from the edge of that gum, and then you stitch it from one end to the other. Now I'm going to show you why you don't have to stitch it at the edge of the gum, why you need to leave a space before stitching that. I will show you later on in this video. I'll show you why you need to do that. So for now, you just stitch that as seen here. So after stitching that together, this is what we're going to have. Now look closely at this edge. You can see that the purple fabric is a little bit beneath the black and white fabric. That was why we didn't stitch at the edge of the gum, so that our purple fabric will be completely hidden under the black and white fabric. As you can turn it like this, and then you will not see that there's a purple fabric underneath it. That was why we did that. So on to the next step. You're going to fold the cap into two like this. The two edges, the two open ends of the fabric should kiss each other. You can see the way I folded this. The two open ends should kiss each other. Now, if you divide 22 3/4 into 2, divide your tape, hold your tape and divide it. 22 3/4 divided by 2. What do we have? This is 11 and quarter. 11 and quarter. I think it's a little bit more than a quarter. But when you do that division, make sure whatever you have, you apply it. So you're going to mark it on that cap like that. So you just apply that 11 and quarter all along the width of the cap. Mark at various intervals, and if you know that you don't have a good or a sharp eye gauge, use a ruler to connect the lines before stitching. You can use a ruler to connect the marked areas of that line into a straight line before you stitch it. so that you can have a perfect and a straight line. But for me, I'm not going to use a ruler to connect the lines, but I'll still achieve the perfect results that I want. So after marking those places, you're going to join them with a straight line by way of stitching. Stitch from the top to the bottom. So you're going to stitch from the top to the bottom. However, you must make sure that that point where the purple fabric meets with the black and white fabric, you're going to make absolutely sure that the two fabrics overlap each other. Make sure that they kiss each other accurately. One doesn't have to be above or below the other one. So as for me, what I'm going to do is I will loosen that stitches that I did in the first place. So now this is what I'll do. You can see that I'm making sure that they align to each other. The black and white fabric right on top the one that is underneath, kissing each other perfectly. Now I'm going to stitch from that point to this end, and then I'll take from the other side to the middle. This is in order to make sure that that fabric kisses with each other. They are right on top of each other. This is the professionalism I was talking about. You must make sure that your work is professional, so that somebody that picks it up to check will see and know that, no, this guy knows what he's doing and he took his time to do this job. So after doing that, now I'm going to stitch from this edge back to that middle side. So you just do that. You just do that. Make sure you do that. Make sure it looks nice and clean. So that is that for that one. You see that we have already joined them together. So the next step, we're going to the table. We will open press that place that we just joined. Now you can see this. I have already open pressed the middle parts. You can see how clean it looks. You can see how clean this looks. So now you're going to turn the lining the way I am doing it here. Turn it like so for the next step. Turn it like this for the next step. And the next step will be to top stitch this down edge of the cap. This is the down edge of the cap. So we're going to top stitch it after you've already turned the lining as seen. You can see that everything is just falling in place as expected. Now that is the place that it joins together. So we're going to start our top stitching from that place. So you just carefully place it under your sewing machine. Start right at that line where the cap joins, and you also make sure that you maintain an even distance, an equal distance from the edge, at the edge of the cap, all around. So that is what I'm doing here now. I'm going to stitch it all around until we get back to the point where we started. And when watching a tutorial video, you should be very observant. I hope you can see how I'm using my hand to stretch the fabric at the other edge, to stretch under the fabric at the other edge, to make sure that it doesn't come out under the black and white fabric. So you must do that, stretch out the fabric underneath when you're stitching this in order to achieve perfect results. So we've come back to the place where we started stitching, and that will be that for that side. So the next step is we're going to stitch, well, besides, this is the result of what we just did. You can see that tiny line that we did all around. So that is that one for that. Now we're going to stitch the cap. We're going to stitch it all around. We're going to put like four lines around it, and this is where we'll start from. Because this one has stripes, it has made the job so easy. So I'm going to place my stitches right on that black line, and then I'll stitch it all around at that same equidistance, at that same interval. I'll do the same thing for that line all the way, at least for that side of the gum, for that side that has the gum. I'm going to stitch it like this at the equal distance. So now, after trimming all the excess thread, this is the next step. This is the next step. Just fold your cap like this. Fold it like this. You can see you fold the cap at the edge of the gum. Remember, there is a gum inside this cap. So you're going to fold the open edge, that up part, fold it inwards and arrange it like this. If your fabric is not very smooth, maybe you can just take it to the table and iron it so that you can have a good edge, that you can work with. So you just fold that top part of the cap, and then we're going to stitch about quarter of an inch. I hope you can see that I folded this inwards. Fold it inwards into the opening of the cap, and then you sew, stitch quarter of an inch all around. That is what will give us that effect that we want on this cap. That effect that looks like it's folded on the top. This is what gives that effect. So you just fold it and stitch by a quarter of an inch all around. So also while stitching this, make sure you stretch out the fabric. There should be no foldings. Make sure your fabric is straight. Stretch it out. Use your other hand to stretch out the fabric while you're stitching this. It must be smooth and straight. So now this is that effect that we're looking for. You can see that it looks folded. It looks folded. This is the effect we're looking for. Oh, I'm so tired, man. So after this, by this time we're almost halfway through with our cap, because what's just left at this point, what's just left is for us to trim the excess part that is on top of the cap, and then we're going to cover it up and we're done. So this is the cap. You can see those lines that I did around. So at the table now, we're going to spray water and we'll iron this thing. If you have a steam iron, that's fine for you. You give it a very cool, nice ironing. Make sure you iron it very well. So I'm just going to spray water and then I'll give it a very clean ironing from the inside. From the inside, open everything up, open it, stretch it out, make sure every line is straight, and make sure the heat gets into every corner that needs the heat. Iron it out very well, stretch it out. So the height of the cap that we need is just about 7.5 inches, and that half would be for the sewing allowance on the top. So you're just going to trim every other thing out. If the height of your cap is 7.5 inches, that's perfect. You can work with that. So that is why I trimmed that out. I trimmed out the excess part of the fabric that we don't need. And then after that, we're just going to place this on another fabric, and then we're going to trace the circumference of the top of the cap for us to finish it up after trimming. So here it is. We have already placed the cap on that other fabric. Now we've traced the circumference around the cap. We've already traced the circumference around the cap. You can see that I cut it and I left out half an inch. I left out an extra half an inch all around the circumference, so that we can use that to stitch to the body of the cap. Now this is that circumference of the top. So for other people, if you want, you can apply you can apply lining to it if you want, but as for me, I'm not going to apply any lining, so I'll just go on ahead and stitch that. So after stitching that top around the top of the cap, you're just going to place it on your table and give it a very nice ironing, and you can see how perfect this looks. And I assure you that if you followed my example step by step, you're definitely going to achieve something exactly like this, if not better. So just place it on your table and iron it, and then your cap is ready. So this is everything you need to know about Fila cap. Now please subscribe to this channel if you have not. Like this video. If you have any questions, drop in the comment section. If you are subscribed, please comment and say I have subscribed. I want to interact with you. Thank you so much for your time and for coming back. Catch you in the next video.